I don't know that all music is intended for, I mean, certainly not all music is intended for that reason, and therefore I would say not all of it is necessarily suitable.
What makes it suitable?
I think that it depends. That depends. I think different dance artists would answer that in different ways. I don't think there's one answer. I think that typically happens, is you'll get a composer and a choreographer that collaborate together, and in that collaboration, a suitability is built. I don't know that. I've never really thought about, gee, I want to set out to make a danceable piece. I think, I think the obvious, or not the obvious, but I think sort of the stereotypic thing would be, oh, well, it has to have a really constant rhythm or something like that. Absolutely not. I mean, something that's, that plays with different rhythms or goes off of a rhythm and comes back on, or is as interesting to a choreographer as something that's very rhythmical. Choreographers will look at a lot of things when they're reviewing a piece of music. They'll some of them will just begin by in an intuitive process where they'll just see what images sort of are elicited from listening to the piece, or what kinds of movement just sort of come out of the engagement with the piece. They'll be interested in the dynamic of the piece, and then they might turn off the music and play with that dynamic and movement, and then bring it back and see what happens, or work contrapuntally and bring it back. They'll listen to the structure of a music composition, and then determine how they might want to structure their composition in relationship to that same compositional structure. So I think there's so many different angles, be it the actual structure, or the dynamics, or the tempo and the rhythm, or the imagery, are all ways in to a piece for a choreographer. I've seen work where you can't tell if it's a musical piece, or if it's musicians who are dancing, or dancers who are working as musicians. You can't, or where you can't, where the lines are blurred sort of between, well, what is this? Is it a dance? Is it a piece of music? I guess people would say that it's maybe in the realm of performance art, but yeah, I guess you could say it's well-rounded in that. I mean, also the body is the instrument. We don't often extend our instrument unless we're using a prop or something like that. So you're playing the dancer is playing their body, and the choreographer has made decisions about how that body gets played in interaction with other dancers, in the space, in conjunction with the music. It's interesting from that perspective. But dancers, they have a score that the choreographer has, in a sense, composed, that they play on their instrument. And often in a piece of choreography, there's just rules for a structured improv, and then it goes back to the score again. Or pieces that are completely scored, or pieces that are just a rule for some improvisation so every time it's performed, it's slightly different. The same thing you would find in music.